guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I just wanted to talk about my recent experience at B1A4's road trip concert in Melbourne. It was on the 18th of September at the Regent Theatre. I've just gotten back today after a 10-hour drive, so it's been a really crazy, hectic weekend, but honestly it was one of the most fun experiences of my life. So it started a couple of months ago when B1A4 announced that they were having a tour. They are touring Sydney and Melbourne, and my friend and I actually live about 8 hours away from the nearest city, which is Melbourne. So we decided to road trip and drive all the way up there. So we bought VIP tickets, which were $200 each. And I also bought a glow stick as well, just because it's my first K-pop concert and I really wanted to have the experience of like waving glow sticks around and the fan chants and things like that. So we set off from to Melbourne from 6 AM, and then we actually finally arrived in Melbourne at about 3 PM. So, and the concert started at 7, and I really wanted to look nice because we were actually attending the High Touch after the show, so I spent hours doing my makeup just making sure it was perfect, and we finally rocked up to the venue at about 6:30, which was half an hour before showtime. Because we arrived so late, we didn't actually get to see the line of people, but because it was assigned seating, it didn't really matter too much. Like, we didn't have to line up to get a good view. And the concert started at about 7 PM. They were a couple of minutes late, but it kicked off with a video introducing all the members when they were backstage. And then as soon as the video finished, they launched straight into OK Girl and ran onto the stage. Now, one of the cool things about the road trip concert was they actually had a full backing band. They didn't use any backing tracks really, aside from the really poppy songs where, you know, you really needed it. And then after they finished OK Girl, they launched straight into Beautiful Target. I remember being really shocked that Beautiful Target was actually played first, because I was kind of hoping that they'd save Beautiful Target for last, because that was actually one of my favorite B1A4 songs, and I just love the Sprout dance so much, and I was so happy to finally be able to see it in person. It was one of the highlights of the night for me, one of my favorite songs. And they played about 2 more songs, and then they introduced themselves. At this point, they all spoke English to introduce themselves, and Burrow tried to say "G'day mate," which is very Australian, and he failed miserably and no one could understand him, and I felt so bad for him. And they actually had a translator as well. The pianist in the back kind of doubled as a translator, but to be honest, they didn't really use him that much. I think they tried to communicate in English with us for most of what they could, and then only when they really needed to would they use the translator. And then I think it moved on to Burrow introducing their next song to have a really sexy concept, and they all came out in these white suits with these black fedora hats, which were my favourite outfits of the night, and Xinyu looked particularly stunning in that outfit, and I have to say that because he's my bias, but they all looked amazing. And they started off with, it was mostly ballads, so I think they played songs like Time Is Over, Tried to Walk, and then Lonely, and then If as well. I love If. It was one of my favourite songs from that mini album, so I was so excited to hear it live. And then Jin Young actually came out with a guitar, and they sang a particular song in English. Now, I can't remember what it was called, and my friend couldn't either, but we all knew the words, so we assumed that it had to be a pretty popular English song. If anyone knows what song it was, please feel free to let us know in the comment section below, because we were scratching our heads the whole night trying to remember. And they also played a stripped down version of Wonderful Tonight. Now, I know Wonderful Tonight's already kind of slow and unplugged on the album, but it was one of the highlights of the night again for me. It was so beautiful, and I didn't like the song that much on the album. It's kind of one of those songs that I always tend to skip over, so I was just blown away at their voices. It's just so beautiful. I'm pretty sure there's some footage of it on YouTube if you want to go and have a look. It was just so beautiful. And then I think after the slow songs had finished, they played a video of Burrow, who was on the phone to, I assume, his girlfriend, well, make-believe girlfriend in the video, and actually then he made a phone call, and on the screen the phone started ringing, and they actually picked out a girl from the audience to sit on a stool while they came out and serenaded her during, I think it was Choo Choo Choo. She was in shock. It was so funny. The fan service was so over the top. That room was getting really hot. It was some pretty intense fan service. Like I'd never seen anything like it before, and they gave her a teddy bear and she was so excited. I'm pretty sure there's also some footage of that, or some photos on Instagram if you want to go and look at those. And then after they played their ballads, they actually moved on to their up-tempo songs, which is kind of where the night got really, really special for me. So I was in a wheelchair for that night. And then I think they yelled at everyone to stand up during their up-tempo songs. And then people standing up actually stopped me from being able to see. So I threw my bag on the ground in the middle of the aisle and just sprinted my way to the front of the stage. The security guards actually saw me coming, and they were like, go, 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 like go to the front of the stage, like it's totally fine. So I actually ended up in the front row on the very far left. I already had VIP tickets, so I don't really think they were that bothered. So I actually ended up, you know, like I said, in the front row, and I was so close. I was not expecting to be this close. They were right in front of me. I actually felt really, really sad at this point, because I actually wouldn't let my friend come and sit or come and stand at the front with me. So I had to watch the last half of the concert by myself and leave her back in the 8th row. But I think she kind of was pretty okay with it. Like, she didn't want me to not be able to see half of the show. So I remember at this point I was so excited being in the front row, and I was waving my glow stick and doing all the chants and stuff, and I remember Burrow coming over to the left side of the stage, and my glow stick was very different to all of the others. It wasn't the official, I don't think it was an official one. It had different settings, like it would flash really slow, it would flash really fast, and then it had just like a constant light on setting. So it was flashing pretty fast during one of the fast songs, and Burrow came over and pointed at my glow stick and looked really excited because it was different from everybody else's. So I died inside. Honestly, I thought that was going to be it for the fan service, and I was just so happy. But then every time a member actually came over to the left side of the stage, I would smile and I would wave, and it kind of took a couple of tries, but eventually I managed to get waved at from Gongchan, Xinyu, Jinyoung, and Butter again. Jinyoung actually pointed at me and he smiled at me, and he kind of nodded his head to like the beat of my drumstick, which wasn't quite a light stick, which wasn't actually matching the song at all, but he was smiling and laughing while doing it, so that was very exciting. And a few of them actually waved at me a second time as well. Like, after they waved at me the first time, they actually pointed at me and waved again. I think this was Baro, Gongchan, and Xinyu. Xinyu is my bias, which I think I said before, so I was very, very excited about this. And then during one of the songs, I actually can't remember which song it was, the members actually kind of started, well, not crowd surfing, but it was more like running down the aisles and high-fiving everyone. Xinyu actually took my aisle on the very far left of the stage, And so I stuck my hand out when he walked down the stairs, because I was right next to the stairs, but he didn't like acknowledge me. I don't think he looked at me or saw me or anything like that. So he just ran straight past. But then he kind of started getting mauled in the crowd when he was running up there. So he actually made his way back, and I just decided to randomly just stick out my hand. Like, I wasn't even facing him. I just, because he was behind me, I just stuck out my hand and I felt him grab onto it. And then he kind of ran around still holding my hand, and he actually squeezed my hand, looked into my eye, and said thank you in English. I was absolutely in shock. Like, his handshake was so firm and his hands were so soft and just so lovely. And I thought that was it for me, and she knew. I thought that was it. I was already on cloud 9, really. And then a few minutes later, they actually brought out a little Polaroid camera, which is one of those cameras that actually print out the photos like straight after you've taken them. And they were taking some photos of people in the front row, and I wanted a photo too, like, I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit jealous, everyone was getting photos. And then I saw Sheeny actually grab the camera, and he ran to the very left side of the stage, so my side of the stage. He looked me in the eye, he jumped down from the stage onto the floor and actually approached me for a photo. And he, I think it was very quick, like, he just came up to me, put his face right next to my face, held out the camera, and he made a peace sign, which I didn't see, and I made a peace sign, and we were just matching, like, we were just meant to be. We made the same pose just instinctively. And then while it was printing, he made like a waiting, like a 1 second like gesture to me, and then he actually handed me the photo. I tried to shout out thank you, but he wasn't actually looking in my direction. He was kind of looking back over to the stage, I guess, to find his cue in the song or something like that, and then he just ran off. I just remember like staring at the photo, just waiting for it to develop, to like see if that moment had actually honestly just happened. I was so shocked. And then they played their last song, Baby Goodnight, and then the encore. I actually can't remember the order of the songs, but towards the end I do remember that there were some songs like Glass of Water. I was ecstatic when they played that. That is my favourite song from the Solo Day mini album. I couldn't believe I was singing it with my own eyes. And they actually played, it was kind of a mixture of an AC/DC cover, You Are My Girl, and something like that during one of their very last songs. It was very strange but very cool. Like, even the security guards were jamming to the AC/DC cover. They were kind of creeped out about the concept of the concert. Like, I don't blame them. You know, you don't really see a lot of K-pop concerts here, so everyone was a bit, what is this? And then towards the end of the show, they taught us a really cute dance during the song Who Am I? Gongchan was actually directly in front of me while he was teaching everyone the song, so I actually got to learn the dance from Gongchan, which was really amazing. And then the concert finally finished, and I remember being like really emotional about it. And we were waiting for the High Touch event because we bought VIP tickets. And then at the end of the High Touch, like, a security guard came up to me and he said, the High Touch event is downstairs. And like, I couldn't get down there because of my wheelchair, so I was almost in bits. But then they said, you know, like, don't panic, we're gonna sort something out for you, so just wait until the very end of the High Touch. So I waited until the end, and some girls actually approached me and they were like, oh, were you the one that got a photo with Shinyu? And I was like, yeah, that was me. And I showed them the photo, and they thought it was really cute. And I think I have the photo right here. I kind of put it in a tin for the drive home, like, while it was packing, so it wouldn't get damaged. Okay, so there's us. There's the photo right there. Oh. It's kind of hard to see because of the glare. I'm not really sure what my hair was doing during that, but yep, so this is my most prized possession now. And then they also noticed my EXO bag. I had an EXO backpack and an EXO drink bottle, and so we were fangirling about EXO for a little bit. And then the security guards actually came came to fetch me, and they actually had to carry me down the stairs. Now, there was the stairs went straight down onto the floor for the high touch, and B1A4 was sitting at the table while I was being carried down a really large flight of stairs by 2 security guards. They were actually pretty shocked that this was happening, and I don't blame them. It was honestly terrifying. And then we kind of waited for a couple of seconds, and the boys actually got up from the table and actually brought their translator with them, and like came and said hi to us, and I remember being in shock at this point, and they all held out their hands, and we gave them all a high five. I just remember them being really soft and really sturdy. Like you could honestly tell that they're really pro at like high touches and stuff. And then Shinyu actually recognized me, and he asked me about the photo. So my friend pulled out the photo from my purse and actually showed all the members the photo. They thought it was really cute or funny or something like that. They were laughing at it. I'm not really sure why, because while it was happening, Barry actually turned to the translator and told the translator to tell me that he saw me being really, really excited during the concert. And I said, I was really embarrassed at this point. I was like, yeah, I was. It was actually my first K-pop concert. And his face honestly just lit up. And he grabbed my hand and he looked me in the eye and he squeezed my hand and he was like, thank you so much. And I was like, no, thank you. Like it was honestly so much fun. And they all just looked so happy. And then I remember Jin Young also told the translator to tell me that he really liked my hair, because I don't know if they see that many people with bright coloured turquoise hair. So I said, you know, like, thank you so much, and they asked us if we were going to see them in Sydney, and we said that we weren't, but, you know, we wish we could, and they said, you know, like, don't worry, like, we'll be back soon. And so I said, you know, I tried out a little bit of Korean. I said, you know, thank you in Korean, and I love you guys, you know, B1A4 fighting, and then we kind of, yeah, so we said our goodbyes and our thank yous, and that was it. And then I saw Gong-chan go out the front doors of the venue, and he was standing on the staircase doing a little bit of fan service for the fans that were waiting outside. And I'm pretty sure they also got a couple of fans together to take group photos at the end. We were leaving the venue through a separate entrance, so we actually couldn't be a part of that. And then yeah, we went back to the hotel and watched some B1A4 videos on YouTube, and yeah, so that was the best night of my life. Honestly, I had really high expectations for the show, but I actually didn't expect to meet them as much. I didn't expect to have an actual conversation with them. Like, the security guards were so chill about us having a conversation. Like, they weren't rushing us. It was just honestly so chilled, and they were just the loveliest boys I've ever met in my life. I was just so thankful. And then especially to get a photo with my bias. Like, out of all the people that he could have picked out in the front row to take a picture with, he picked me. I honestly don't have words for that weekend. So yep, so that was my fan account for B1A4 road trip in Melbourne. If you like this video, please comment, rate and subscribe. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.